there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that.
Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back.
Sophie Cunningham's season didn't just stumble, it got torched. Bria Hartley went way past hard foul territory and straight into assault, leaving Cunningham wrecked, Hartley sued and suspended, and the WNBA looking like it's running a circus instead of a league. What's sold as gritty, physical basketball is now a sloppy mess where players can throw reckless shots without the league stepping in until it's too late. Cunningham's season is gone, Hartley's reputation is trashed, and the WNBA's credibility just took another body blow.
It's sad. It's very, very sad and unfortunate what has happened to Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham, let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted. Let's be very, very clear here.
Bria Hartley's cheap shot on Sophie Cunningham wasn't an accident any more than a mugging is a clumsy hug. The footage makes it crystal clear. Cunningham didn't slip, didn't lose balance. She was targeted and taken out. Period. And the officials? They stood around like clueless mall cops on break pretending this was just another play. It wasn't. It was a hit job dressed up as basketball, and the league letting it slide only proves how far the WNBA has drifted into chaos.
Effective down low, and she can get a lot of people in foul trouble.
Let's cut the polite excuses. Basketball is physical doesn't cover what Bria Hartley keeps putting. There's tough play, and then there's flat-out assault. Sophie Cunningham may grind, scrap, and get under people's skin, but she's not ripping hair out of scalps or body-slamming players like it's some discount UFC undercard. That's Hartley's act, and it's not new. Ask Angel Reese, who got yanked midair, or Becca Allen, who got dumped like dirty laundry. Now Cunningham's season is wrecked too. That's not defense, that's a rap sheet. And the league looking the other way? Please. It's about as convincing as a campaign speech. You know it's garbage the second you hear it.
My goodness.
Sophie Cunningham isn't some end-of-the-bench filler you forget about after the buzzer. She walked into Indiana and lit a fire under a team that was flatlining. She wasn't just padding minutes, she was producing, drilling shots, scrapping on defense like every possession was life or death. And maybe the biggest thing, she actually had Caitlin Clark's back when the rest of the roster looked like they'd rather watch from the stands. Losing her isn't just losing a player, it's ripping the only real spine out of this squad.
You talk to Sophie Cunningham and she'll say, I'm trying to wrap her up, and I do think that's what...
Sophie Cunningham was the only one in Indiana who refused to play nice. She'd get in someone's face, throw her body around, and actually stand up when Caitlin Clark got hacked for the 10th time while the refs swallowed their whistles. Now she's done, season gone, knee, Achilles, whatever the diagnosis ends up being, the damage is the same. And make no mistake, Bria Hartley didn't just take out a player. She stripped Indiana of the one enforcer who had the guts to protect their franchise star. The message is clear. Clark's on her own now, and the league couldn't care less.
To commercial, Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped.
The WNBA's problem isn't just one dirty hit. It's a full-blown epidemic. This season looks more like a triage ward than a professional league. Caitlin Clark has spent more time sidelined than on the floor. Sophie Cunningham? Done. Sydney Colson? ACL shred. Ari McDonald? Broken foot. And what does the league office do? Strut around bragging that physicality is the selling point, as if fans are paying for a front row seat to the injury report. And then there are the refs, an insult to whistles everywhere. Sophie gets leveled 75 feet from the hoop, no call. She dares to complain, gets slapped with a tech. That's not officiating, that's parody. WWE refs look competent by comparison. Honestly, half these officials would be better off screwing up fast food orders or handing out glass cleaner at intersections, because refereeing, definitely not their lane.
Sophie Cunningham went down. It did not look good. I heard her saying no from the court. It was heartbreaking. I am hoping, this is the hope, that it was more of like a bruised knee type thing. There aren't many updates as of yet, but she will be getting an MRI. So hopefully we'll hear something tomorrow. But judging by the way that the WNBA, expands on injuries, it's probably not gonna be a lot. But my guess is that she's...
And then there's Kathy Engelbert, the so-called commissioner. What's her brilliant response to the chaos? Players need more rest. They should skip off-season leaks. That's the excuse she's hiding behind. Really? That's the best she's got? Here's a reality check. Caitlin Clark didn't log a single game overseas. Sophie Cunningham didn't either. And yet both are wrecked, both sidelined, because this league lets matches turn into WWE sideshows while referees stand around humming lullabies. It's embarrassing. And don't forget the most jaw-dropping part of this headline. Bria Hartley isn't just suspended, she's being dragged into court. Yes, sued. And frankly, she deserves every second of it. Because when you cross that thin line between hard-nosed defense and career-ending assault, you're not just breaking the rules of basketball, you're opening yourself up to lawyers, judges, and damages. Sophie Cunningham has every right to go after Hartley for lost paychecks, medical bills, and opportunities ripped away. And if the league refuses to protect its players, then the courts damn well will. But don't think this lawsuit stops with Sophie. No, this is just the opening salvo in what's about to be a legal storm. If Hartley can get sued, why can't the next player who gets slammed to the hardwood? What's stopping Angel Reese from filing over the time Hartley yanked her hair midair and endangered her career? What's stopping Becca Allen from seeking justice after being tossed like a garbage bag? The WNBA is walking into uncharted territory, and the truth is, they brought this on themselves. The most tragic part? None of this was shocking. Everyone knew Hartley's reputation. Everyone knew she played dirty. Analysts warned about it. Fans screamed about it. Sophie herself probably knew it. And yet the league looked the other way, because drama draws clicks, controversy stirs chatter, and physical play keeps the old-school crowd pretending the women's game is finally tough. Well, congratulations. You got your toughness. You also got your star players rehabbing in hospital wings and your league's image dragged through the mud. And if you want proof this story isn't new, just rewind the tape. Think back to the NBA of the 1980s and 90s. Guys were getting elbowed in the throat, clotheslined in midair, punched in the paint. It was chaos. And eventually, the NBA woke up. They realized cage fighting in jerseys wasn't sustainable. They tightened the rules. Flagrant fouls actually mattered. Suspensions carried weight. And what happened? The league thrived. The stars stayed on the court. Fans filled arenas to watch greatness night after night. Imagine that. Protecting talent worked. But the WNBA, they're acting like they've never seen this movie before. They're running the Bad Boys Pistons playbook 30 years too late, except this time, the stars don't survive it. And let's drag out the elephant in the room, Caitlin Clark. Like it or not, everything in this league loops back to her. Sophie Cunningham was one of the only players actually standing guard, taking the hits, giving some back, making sure Indiana wasn't a pushover. Now she's gone, and Clark is stripped bare. You really think opponents won't notice? You really think Hartley and her copycats won't smell blood? Please. Clark is about to be hunted like never before, and Indiana just lost its protector. And yes, Clark is in her second year, not some wide-eyed rookie anymore, but none of that matters. The league still treats her like a sideshow attraction. Every shove, every hack, every cheap shot is framed as some badge of toughness. Meanwhile, Indiana keeps paying the price. And here's where the spiral gets even darker. Because if the WNBA doesn't wake up fast, this won't just be Sophie Cunningham versus Bria Hartley. It'll be every player in the league wondering if they're one dirty foul away from a blown knee, a lawsuit, or a career cut short. And make no mistake, agents are watching, lawyers are circling. Hartley's suspension might be business as usual, but this lawsuit? This is new ground. This is dangerous.
For years, people mocked the idea of suing over a foul. They laughed it off like it was some ridiculous hypothetical, something out of a law school exam. But let's be real. This wasn't a foul. This wasn't incidental contact, a bump, or a mistimed box out. This was deliberate, malicious, and it went way past the boundaries of basketball. And now here we are. Sophie Cunningham staring down a wrecked season, and Bria Hartley staring down a lawsuit. If Sophie wins, or even forces a settlement, it changes everything. The floodgates swing wide open. Suddenly, players realize they don't have to put their careers in the hands of blind referees or an incompetent commissioner. They can bypass the league entirely and go straight to court. That's a nuclear shift. Imagine the fallout. Suddenly, Bria Hartley isn't sweating a meaningless 2-game suspension and a pocket change fine. She's sweating the thought of paying damages, losing sponsorships, and forever carrying the brand of being legally liable for ending someone's season. That's a scarlet letter you don't wash off with a PR apology. And here's the kicker: accountability. The one word this league runs from like it's toxic. Accountability for referees? 0. Accountability for Engelbert? 0. Accountability for serial cheap shot artists like Hartley? Practically none. The WNBA practically rewards dirt. They pat themselves on the back for letting them play, then act stunned when half the league is strapped into knee braces and walking boots. Just look at Indiana. Cursed doesn't even cover it. Clark has already missed more games than she's played. Cunningham, done for the year. Ari McDonald, broken foot. Sydney Colson, torn ACL. The roster reads less like a team sheet and more like a hospital intake list. And what's the league's explanation? Overuse. Bad luck. It's insulting. It's like blaming the weather for a building collapsing when the foundation was cracked the whole time. The issue isn't fate. It's unchecked violence dressed up as physicality. And Sophie's case? That's the cruelest twist of all. She wasn't just playing well, she was thriving. She'd carved out a new identity in Indiana, not just as a shooter, not just as a scrapper, but as the team's backbone. She was the one standing up every time Clark got mugged and no whistle came. She was the one giving Indiana its edge. And now she's gone, ripped away in one dirty play, leaving the Fever soft, exposed, and stripped of their heart. That's not bad luck. That's catastrophic. And let's not kid ourselves. Hartley knew. You don't grab Angel Reese by the hair one week, fling Becca Allen like a rag doll the next, and then magically accidentally destroy Sophie Cunningham. That's not coincidence. That's character, or lack thereof. Of course, the fan base is split, as always. Some are calling Hartley a disgrace, saying she shouldn't suit up again. Others shrug it off, part of the game, and those are the same fans who will scream bloody murder when it's their star, their season, wrecked on a stretcher. It's all fun and games until it's your jersey number on the injured list. But here's the truth. This is on the referees, too. Without their laziness, Hartley doesn't even get this chance to build her highlight reel of dirty plays. If officials had stepped in early, called flagrants, issued suspensions, thrown her out when she deserved it, maybe Sophie is still suiting up today. But no, the refs let it slide. They always let it slide. They hide behind that pathetic slogan, "Let them play." Let them play? No. What you're doing is letting them get away with murder while you cower from making a tough call. And now here comes the ugliest part. Fans are beginning to wonder if the league even cares about its stars staying healthy. Think about it. Decades of irrelevance, begging for eyeballs. Finally, the WNBA gets them, thanks to Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and a few others. And instead of protecting those investments, they're letting the product devolve into a circus. Bodies hitting the floor, lawsuits flying, and star power limping off the court. That's not growth, that's a train wreck. And don't think Clark isn't noticing. She might not say it into a microphone, but she sees it. She's watched Sophie, her only real protector, vanish. She knows she's driving into the lane as a target now. She knows the refs aren't bailing her out. And the question has to be whispered. How long before she decides this league isn't worth her career? How long before she starts thinking like a businesswoman and not like a sacrificial lamb? Because let's be real, if the WNBA keeps this up, Clark won't be the last one reconsidering. Fans are patient, but only to a point. Nobody's buying tickets to watch rugby with a basketball, nobody's tuning in to see a parade of stars sidelined, and nobody is celebrating refs acting like glorified traffic cones. And the WNBA could fix this tomorrow. Don't let anyone tell you different. They could hammer Hartley with a suspension that actually means something. They could retrain refs to enforce the rule book instead of their own cowardice. They could, for once, prioritize safety over this cheap toughness narrative. But will they?
History says no. They'll sweep it under the rug, spit out some lifeless press release, and act stunned when the next star goes down. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham's career teeters in limbo. Injuries like this don't vanish. They linger. They haunt. They change players forever. And Sophie was in the middle of rewriting her story, proving she wasn't just another role player. She was carving her place, and Hartley may have stolen that for nothing more than an ego boost, to send a message, to be the toughest. It's pathetic, it's desperate, and it's poisoning the league from the inside out. So here's where we stand. Bria Hartley, suspended, sued, and publicly exposed as the dirtiest player in the league. Sophie Cunningham, gone for the year, her career in jeopardy. Indiana, stripped of its toughness and staring at a shaky future. And the WNBA, led by a commissioner spinning fairy tales, referees in clown shoes, and a reputation sinking deeper into the mud. The only real question left is this: what's the league going to do to stop the spiral? Because if the answer is nothing, and let's be honest, it probably will be, then brace yourselves. Sophie Cunningham won't be the last casualty. Not even close. So, what's your verdict? Should Hartley ever step on a WNBA court again? Or is this finally the end of the line?